Oh, hey everybody. Welcome back to Live. I forgot to bring Alex into the video. It's a busy day. Give me 1 second. Alex can hear me, but probably nobody can hear him. 1 second. That's a good start, Nick. All right. Just be professional. Okay. Cool. All right. We should have Alex. There we go. All right.
Hey.
Yeah, let's try that again. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Live. I'm your host, Nick Taylor. And today I'm hanging out with Alex Appleget. Uh, I actually never asked you how you pronounce your last name. Is it Appleget or is it
So it's
Appleget?
it's Applegate, which makes no sense because it's spelled Get like get. So
Okay.
I normally just tell people Applegate, so that's easier.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. No, because I wasn't sure. Like your background, like family and stuff, because like I wasn't, I just said it, and I'm like, is it French,
Mhm.
like Appleget? And I was like, yeah, so it's not. So
I
Applegate.
yeah. It's one of those questions where I've asked my dad, and I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not, but he was just like, "Yeah, our ancestors came to the country and they're like Applegate, and they said like Applegate or something, and just wrote it down that way." I was like, "I
Okay,
don't
okay,
believe you, but yeah."
yeah, yeah. No, well, it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of French Canadians that live on in like New England, or like families move
Mhm.
to the U.S. Like in the 50s or 60s, I think. So like you'll you'll hear French names like, not that I watch a lot of hockey, but when you hear an English announcer say a French name, like they'll say Leclerc instead of it's Leclerc or whatever, and like
Yeah.
even some names that are French that I've seen in the US, like they've been kind of, I don't know if English but it's like it's just because like it's not a big deal. It's just funny because like when I see it, like I'm like, because I speak French, so I'm like, oh no, that's not how you say it. But anyways, I digress. Completely taking us off the rails here
No,
with
yeah.
names, but
I always wonder about it too. Like this could be the whole Alex ancestry. Like, where do I come from?
yeah, 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 exactly. Also, thanks for the follow there, Walter. Good to see you. Hey, Roxy, good to see you in the chat. And
Hey.
uh, we're already going in tangents here. Roxy says she hears you like Cheetos. Is that true?
Yes, I eat them all the time, and I love them so much that whenever I play video games, I name myself Cheetos.
Oh, okay, okay. So gamer tags are coming out. It's all coming
Mhm.
out. All the dirty laundry. Well, it's not really dirty laundry, but cool,
Yeah.
cool. All right. So for folks who might not know who you are, do you mind just giving kind of like a little who you are, maybe how you got into tech if you want to, or you can say as much or as little as you want. But I know like I met you through the Gridiron Survivor, which we can talk about too if you want. But yeah, I guess kind of how did you kind of get to into dev?
No, yeah. To not kind of go in too much detail, so it's kind of like one of those things where I'm just like, I really love tech, but what do I want to do? So I just kind of like trial and error. At first, I tried to do hardware, but that didn't go
Okay.
nowhere because like this one person was like, "Hey, can you fix my phone, Alex?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like let me use my hardware skills." And I open up her phone and I ripped the screen and I had to go to a store and pay $400 to replace the screen. So I was like, maybe hardware is not the
Okay.
best
Yeah.
suited. And then after that, I was like, what else should I do? Because like hardware, like dealing with hardware just makes me sweat. So that's when I found
Yeah.
software engineering, but I thought it was like too hard. So I was like, you know what? Like I'll give it a try. Like maybe it's too hard. And then I kind of like got into it, started learning it. Like I really fell in love with it, and I was like, I want to keep doing this. So I kept teaching myself. And then as far as gridiron, it's kind of just like kind of luck. I just remember going on LinkedIn and I so happened to connect with Brad and I was like, "Hey, I'm just getting started. Like any advice?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, like there's this gridiron. Like my
Okay.
buddy Shashi is doing it." And that's when I reached out to Shashi and that's how I found out
Okay.
about gridiron.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, yeah, I started helping with Gridiron, I think it was a few months ago. I chatted with Shashi last year, And it's like I forget how I I forget how I came across gridiron. I think just seeing it on socials, and then I think somebody I think somebody who was doing the gridiron, it might have been Ryan Furr, said like,
Mm.
"Oh, I think they're looking for mentors or like people to help with code reviews." Or I can't remember the exact flow there, but also then like I did like one of those Jason Langsdorff's Code TV. I did one with Shashi, so we got to hang
Oh,
more and stuff. And then when we got back, Shashi's like, "Hey, let's get the ball rolling with Gridiron." So then I think I came on board. Think it might have been like April or May, but
yeah.
yeah,
No, yeah, I
yeah.
wanted to ask about that like web dev challenge. Like, how was that? Because didn't you all have like a super tight time frame to like build something super quick? And
Yeah, you get 4 hours. Like this is always the scenario. I've done it twice now. I did it like he does it in person now. Like you go to
Mhm,
Portland and you film there. But uh, 2 winters ago, he asked me if I wanted to do it. But this is when it was remote,
mhm,
and it was still the same deal. Like 4 hours. Like remotely, realistically, I probably spent a couple more hours, and like one of the contestants also said like I spent way more than 4 hours. Like
yeah,
I don't know if you've ever seen TL Draw. It's like a drawing program. It's kind of like Excalidraw, but it's like
yeah, okay.
anyways, the creator of that, Steve Ruiz, was the other one of the other people on that remote Code TV one, and he's the one that spent way more than 4 hours. But he made this incredible video game with, because like
Mm,
that one was doing multiplayer stuff, so you leveraging Party Kit, which is kind of like real time collaboration stuff. But
mm,
the one in person, yeah, it was 4 hours. It's literally 4 hours. There's breaks and stuff, but you have
yeah,
4 hours to do it. And yeah, it was. I wouldn't call it stressful because like I'm used to
mhm,
live coding and stuff. It's just more like you do want to try and get something done, obviously.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
but we didn't finish everything, but we were still able to show like a good chunk of it. And
Mm,
it was fun, but like I was literally blocked on something for almost an hour and a half.
oh my,
And then and it was something stupid in the end. It was like the name of something wasn't named the same thing elsewhere. It was to
mm,
start these jobs. We were using Temporal, which is this it's a workflow engine, but a durable workflow engine, and we had to make a game using it. And
mm,
so I was stuck on this thing. It wasn't starting my jobs for some reason, and then like I was even talking to their technical support after like the developer advocate tried to help, and then
mhm.
it was really funny because the guy was from Montreal, so then I'm, like,
Yeah,
chatting with him in French, trying to figure out the issue, and then he's like, "Oh, yeah, this one thing I said at the beginning, I renamed it somewhere else, and there was no connection. Like, it
mm,
should have been the same variable or constant probably." And so I got that sorted, and then it was just, like, under the wire to just get stuff working, and then we got the back end working, and then Shashi had most of the front end, but part of my job was to, because we split up tasks, was to just
mm,
wire up the back end to the front end,
yeah.
and got it working. But it was like a Connect Four game, but like it did
Yeah.
do the pieces and the moves and stuff. It's just the UI wasn't updating. So it was fun, stressful, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that sounds fun, but, like, yeah, also stressful because like, 4 hours to, like sometimes it takes people 4 hours just to figure out, like, a tech stack that they like or just, like, figuring that out, like, what tech stack to use and oh, wow. That
Yeah, no, for sure. There's like you do have to kind of think on your toes, and like obviously work with your teammate and stuff.
mhm,
These particular challenges, like, because it used to be one person, and then he started doing, let's have like somebody who's more focused on the back end and somebody more focused on the front end. I mean, or maybe somebody who's more full stackish back end, I guess. So Uh,
Yeah.
but it's fun because and then you obviously talk to the other teams and you get to hang out and stuff and
Mhm.
you go to a dinner and just chat. It is I enjoyed it a lot. I got to just chat with a bunch of people and Jason's really great about the whole process and it's super fun. Um, but yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think Ryan was on it recently, so who knows?
Yeah, no, I'm
Maybe
looking
if
forward to watching that. That would be
put
yeah.
put your hat in the ring, maybe.
We'll see, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So like, I guess speaking of like just dev in general, so like
Mhm,
you've been mentioning kind of been digging into AI a bit. You obviously still working on gridiron stuff. Like, I
mhm.
guess what do you enjoy the most, or what do you find like the most interesting right now? Like, because it changes through your career, I think, over time. But
Yeah, I was definitely on, like, the AI high, like, I was super excited. I was like, "Oh my gosh," you could just hook up, like, ChatGPT or something, prompt it, and in a
yeah.
sense, you could create, like, your own API, like, "Oh, you don't wanna, like, go try to find something, like, get your AI model to do it for you." So I was kinda, like, digging into that. I started learning about tooling and stuff, so I thought it was, like, really cool that I could, like, feed this AI model, like, documents about, like, me personally. So kinda in a
Okay.
sense
Yeah.
like an AI, like, customer service, like, "Hey, tell me about Alex," and it could go to the documents and, like, retrieve information.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I definitely, like, really enjoyed that. I really, like, wanna get into, like, model context protocol, if I'm pronouncing that right, but
Okay.
I
Yeah.
wonder if that's, like,
MCPs. Yeah.
too deep, like, I'm still trying to understand, like, more, like, prompting and stuff like that, but it's just I don't know, it's just really cool to like think of creative ideas to get AI like implemented into your app to be like, oh, like auto suggest this or like do things like that. So it's just honestly been a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that big of a reach to just mess around with MCPs and like happy to
Mm.
chat about them if you want some time offline if you want to mess around with them
Yeah.
or we could even do another stream on those if you wanted. But
Hmm.
it's it's still like cuz you were talking about tools. So it's still tools. It's just you can have uh local MCP servers, model context protocol servers, and those are obviously running on your machine. But you can get tools there, and because it's running on your local machine, you can obviously access like your file system and stuff.
Hmm.
This is kind of how like some of the built-in VS Code ones work, but you can also have remote ones. And again, it's just tools, but it's also a way it's more than just tools. It's just the whole thing with MCP is it's kind of like a common interface for basically being able to have agents, pass along context or give answers to something because they can operate in two ways. They can literally
Mm.
just give you an answer to something. Like, like I don't know, like I was at the MCP Dev Summit in San Francisco, and uh, Kenzie Dodds talks about he wants his own Jarvis, and like, it makes sense. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like I feel like some of the assistant things like Alexa or Siri, they're not really completely there at the
Hmm.
moment. But picture or like I was talking with Tejas Kumar, and he was like, I just need a flight. I'm flying to Germany, maybe. Um, this is my budget. I need to be here at this time and this date. So anytime on that day or before my like time I need to be there is
Mm.
good. And you kind of give it some criteria and then
Yeah.
you just send that to the MCP server and it could do all kinds of things. It could call other MCP servers, like maybe there's one that's like, going to different flights for different companies that might have MCP servers. Like, I don't think all this
Mm.
exists yet, but,
Yeah.
or maybe a booking agent, like maybe like an Expedia or booking.com or something gets you flights or maybe adds your hotel. And then you just basically say, do this for me, everything I've told you is good for me. So just come back with like, here you go, kind
Mm.
of. So there's that aspect of it, but there's also like leveraging MCPs to get additional context to something you're asking, So like, for like, we do like, because I've been deep in this stuff recently, but like we have a demo where we use a sales database, um, and essentially I'm saying stuff like, I want to generate like a pie chart, but I want to base it off of like the sales from like the last 10 years. It's not our real sales database. It's a test.
Mm,
It's a test database, but the MCP server basically queries the database, gives us like the real fake sales data,
yeah.
and then so that's like real time data that comes back, which is added to the context of like what the LLM was trying to do. And then with that and like other tools, it can go ahead and, for example, create that pie chart. So that's a way of kind of like enhancing the context. And you'll
Mm,
there's other things like RAG, like retrieval augmented generation, and you know all those things are really because like the LLMs are trained to a certain date,
mm,
you know? So like for I don't know, like for example, say some new model, supermodels released today. If you ask it a question in 6 months, like what's the weather today, or what is the weather today? It's not gonna know.
mm,
If you ask what was the weather in Montreal like 8 months ago, it might have that data. But so like that's where you get this additional context. It knows you want to know about the weather, but it doesn't have the answer. So tools like a weather tool or something could actually do that, and then that gives the additional context again, and then it can give you the answer, but because it has that additional context. So that's kind of how I've understood all that.
mm.
I definitely will not say I'm an AI expert by any means yet, but
No,
yeah,
yeah, it's really cool because when I was playing around with it, like, don't get me wrong, my like custom function tooling that I was building was like more so simple because I was like trying to understand like how AI worked. And like
yeah,
it was pretty cool. Like you could hook up as many tools and stuff as you want. And like you don't even really have to prompt the AI model. You could just be like, hey, what's the weather? And like its reasoning knows that like, oh, I have a weather tool. Like let me go call that. And then it
yeah.
responds with like the answer. So I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like I'm kind of oversimplifying it, but maybe not so much. Is like these are really just functions, like literal functions that get called. There's a description of what it does, and then the LLMs, which are good at text, can go, "Oh, this tool appears based on its description to be something that can tell me the weather, so that's why it picks that."
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's definitely interesting times, and there's a lot of cool
Mhm.
stuff, and like I just say like this is uh, I, I always have people asking me like should I learn fundamentals or use a framework or whatever, like for example
Mhm.
React versus learning JavaScript. And I don't know, the answer I kind of always give, and it's not because I'm trying to be diplomatic, but it's really, I think you should just build stuff.
Mm.
And so say you don't really know JavaScript but you picked up React, you can probably still build something, but you're going to hit a point where you're like, I don't understand this array map thing. What is that? And then at
Mm.
that point, you're going to have to learn, okay, JavaScript arrays, or like what map is, you know, but I don't, I don't know. It's just my beliefs is strong word, but I just mean, I really think you should just build stuff because like you're gonna eventually learn those fundamentals that you might not know already. Or if you start with the fundamentals and then you jump into React, for example, you're still gonna figure out either way, like
Yeah.
uh, I don't know, at least that's how my brain works. And I think it's more
Mm.
important to just show and build stuff. And it doesn't have to be perfect either, it's like um eh, I don't know. And it's interesting times because like one, it's definitely difficult getting jobs out there right now. Like
Mm.
even senior people have trouble, and like I don't know. I've mentioned this before on a couple of streams, but I think the bar is a lot higher in terms of what you need to do to get a
Yeah.
job now. And like like when and like people ask me, do you have advice for like getting a job or my first job? And I'm like, I'm probably the worst person to do that. I got my first job in like real programming job in 2002. So my experience of landing a first job does not apply today. Like you're literally better off asking somebody who just landed a job a few months ago or last year. And it's not because I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be helpful, but it's just it's more realistic to get a better answer from them, I think. And but the thing I've definitely noticed is, like, you kind of have to be, to some degree, a content creator, your own
Mhm.
manager slash hype man slash dev. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but that's just kind of like the bottom, like
Mm.
the table stakes have changed, I think. So it's like, I don't know. That's why I say, like, just build, put stuff out there. I'm not saying you have to live stream, but like just being consistent and putting stuff out there, I think is the best move for anybody, honestly, right now. So I don't know what your
Mm.
thoughts are, like, or how you've been finding the market, or
No, yeah, I like definitely agree. Like the bar is definitely higher. And like if you've kind of noticed on LinkedIn as well, like you'll sometimes come across profiles of people that are like actually software engineers, but like they haven't posted a single thing because I will say like during COVID and stuff, it was definitely a lot easier to like break in during that time. But now
yeah,
with the people like after with the aftermath and with how hard things are, you'll notice a lot of people that are like starting out and newer, like they're always posting, always trying to network. So I definitely say like networking and putting yourself out there is like way more important than what it was.
yeah. At the same time, too, just networking isn't good either, I think. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's definitely good to meet up with people and connect, but at the end of the day, you still have to, like, obviously depends where you are in your career, but like you do also have to
Mhm.
have some developer skills too, right? It's not
Yeah.
just like I met a ton of people, so I'm gonna get a job. And it's like, I don't know. It's I guess basically it's just there's a lot you have to do these days.
No, yeah, because honestly, I had this one mentor like a few years ago, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just build like a full stack app and show them that you kind of like know how to do it." And but now it's just like, hey, like front end, back end, tests, unit tests, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's like, yeah, the bar is definitely like has gotten higher, so that like first initial job to like get in, you have to put in a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And it's good and bad, I guess. But I think one thing I've learned also is just you you just always have to be learning.
Mm.
You know, like I work, like, before, like, and I think this is even more important in the age of AI, but like I can even think of, like, 10, 12 years ago, I worked with people, and like they were just happy doing what they were doing, not improving or whatever. And like, this is like when I was working in cubicles and stuff, but like I don't think that kind of mentality is gonna survive in these times. Like, so it's, and honest, well, everybody's built different, obviously, but like
Mm.
I feel like you're curious as well. But like I'm always trying to learn stuff, and I enjoy it, and I'm not saying you have to enjoy it, but it definitely helps if you do. But I I just don't see how you can have a long career without continually, like, learning, you know what I mean? Uh
Like that's why I love software engineering so much that like my curiosity, like I'm always curious about things and like it definitely helps out. Like I n- I never like writing a line of code unless I know like exactly like what's going on. And if I get confused, I do like deep dive research. I'm like, I don't want to implement this if I have no idea what's going on because the more I build on top of it, the like worse it's going to get if I don't understand the like very basic that I'm building.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's you definitely have to understand stuff at the end of the day, but this also kind of ties back into what I was saying about, just building. Maybe you don't understand everything yet, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Like, I think you'll figure it out. So, but no, that's cool though. It's
Yeah.
good to, it's gonna sound cheesy, but like, it's from Ted Lasso, and I saw somebody else mention it the other day. But just be curious, not judgmental, and just
Yeah.
It is a good line, good show too, but I think it's true, you know. And yeah, so I guess how have you found the Gridiron Survivor? Because like I think it's a great program that Shashi Low, who obviously we both know, put in
Hmm.
place, and he's got his what's the name of the Discord again? Is it Oh yeah, Let's Get Technical.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's a great initiative, trying to give, you know, a realistic scenario, like you have some stand-ups, checkpoints, features assigned and stuff. How have you been finding the experience?
I love it, honestly. Like, I recommend it for everyone. Like, it definitely gives you that feel of what it would be like for a real company, but in like a safe environment. And I would say it honestly has helped me like skyrocket my learning, like having mentors and stuff to like review my code and tear it apart. Like it got me to question things and like especially when you have a senior like why did you code it this way and like really get you to think about like why you coded it a certain way. So the experience all in all is like amazing. Like having people like you and Shashi like reviewing our code and like correcting us on prompts because especially like early on these corrections are like really helping us out in the future. But also another like big thing besides the whole like technical aspect and the mentorship that it is just having the community in general is just like a blessing because like we all understand the market, like it's rough, like we're having a hard time like finding jobs, but having that community to fall back on and to hear like other struggles or like help encourage each other, like like it's honestly a blessing just having everyone and hanging out. Like the community is just awesome.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's great having like that safe space to chat and ask questions, and I like what you said about like you're appreciating the feedback, like in pull requests or like just like how
Mhm.
approaches to stuff. And I I think feedback is really a great thing, but um, you know, you're doing it the right way. I think you're appreciating the feedback, but I'm just
Mhm.
mentioning it because sometimes people get offended by feedback, and yeah, obviously the way you present the feedback can obviously change the tone of how people react.
Mhm.
But I think if it's given in a constructive manner, it's really something to learn from. Like I learned from whenever I've been given feedback, or it's like, "Oh, I didn't even think of that," or
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I missed that," or, so I think it's great to have, and, you know, also just getting people's different perspectives, as well is helpful too, so
No, yeah, it's like it's not necessarily like teaching you how to write syntax. It's like getting you to think about like certain questions. Like I remember one time, like a while back, I coded something and then Shashi was like, why did you do it this way? And I was like, oh my God, like why did I do it that way? So I like did like a deep dive and I was like, because like I know when like he asks questions like that, he's like really like trying to push you. Like maybe you shouldn't have done it this way, but try to figure out why you did it that way and like what's the correct way to like do it. So just just that thinking and stuff. At first,
yeah.
I was like trying to figure out why he like asked those questions, but now it's starting to turn into like I'm able to like problem solve things better, or if I'm coding something, like is there a better way to do it? And like why did I do it this way? And like just questions like that like really help out.
Yeah, for sure, and it's, you know, I think this is also where AI can help potentially, like as well, for
Mhm.
moving faster. Like I know, like in Gridiron, we're working on like learning some fundamentals of like, for example, React or Next.js. Uh, but I think you know I use AI in my workflow every day, and uh, you know, uh, it's something that depends how you wield your tools. I was just talking about this in
Mhm.
I have a virtual coffee group I go to that my friend Becca started, and we were talking about this, and it's like you can obviously use AI tools in not leverage them in a good way. I don't mean in a nefarious way. I just mean like it's not giving you the results you want, so like framing your questions or like adding rules and stuff to just, get better answers. And I think uh you know I just think it's something. I don't know. It'd be interesting to discuss with the gridiron crew, but I wonder if like a second phase is like, okay, so like, we've been learning all these things. What does dev life look like with, AI workflows in it? And like,
Mhm.
I just throwing that out there. Obviously, you'd have to talk with Shashi and the team, but like, because I
Yeah.
think realistically, these are things that you're obviously going to have to use in a workplace, anyways, or at least more and more. So um, so I don't know. I think that could be
Yeah.
interesting as a like a second phase, but it'd be interesting to see because like for example, like at work, like I've been using Claude Code a lot recently, just help me build stuff. I use GitHub
Mm.
Copilot all the time too, and also like I even add GitHub Copilot as a code reviewer. And it's happened. I was doing
Cool.
a live stream with my friend Anthony, and we were just building out this feature on stream. It wasn't anything like a huge feature, so it was like manageable to do in the live stream. And then I put up the
Mm.
PR, and then it's like the GitHub Copilot reviewer agents like, oh, you forgot the edge case, or like you only did the happy path to something. And I was like, because we were live streaming, obviously, it was just
Mm.
moving fast. So I was like, oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good call. And it's just like it's just little checks like that, I think, that can help just speed up things. You know I don't think I'm saying like have AI replace everything I do, but it's like just like the thing it fixed was like something, yes, I probably could have fixed myself, but like it did it for me, and I can focus on more important or bigger like issues or features, you know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah, that like AI like that, it could definitely like help out teams and stuff, especially if AI catches something that like you're like, hey, like you forgot this small thing, and like it also can like speed up communication between like you and like a reviewer on your team where AI like helps you like fix a lot of it to where when it comes to like a final review, like someone could like check over it and be like, okay, like that looks good, get it merged in.
yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, it's and I don't know, I think it's just all these tools behave differently too, and like even when you switch the type of model, it's not going to give you the same answer, so you might
Yeah.
have to change certain things too, and there's like all kinds of stuff there, but like there's even because like the stuff we're working on at work, like we're kind of like this gateway for security purposes, but also like you can do stuff when you're in a gateway. And I know like
Mm.
you could do stuff like, hey, Alex asked a question. He, his allotted stipend for AI tools this month is, I don't know, $30. And this question he asks, like we don't need to use the expensive model, just use like a local model or something, like there's things like that too. But I don't know, kind of going on a bit of a tangent there. But
Oh yeah.
it's just interesting times basically.
Oh yeah, I definitely
But
get excited all the time about it.
yeah, the other thing I was gonna say is I have no way to segue this, but like you were you were you like to travel, and you were traveling recently, and I can't remember where you headed
Yeah.
to. Where in it was in Europe, right?
Mhm. London and then Paris. Yeah.
Oh, cool, nice. So what did you get up to there? Was that I'm assuming that wasn't to go to meetups and stuff. It was just to travel and enjoy the countries.
Mhm. Yeah, no, my wife and I have been saving for the trip for about a year, and
Okay.
she works for a travel company. So, like, before I met her there for a vacation, like, work paid for her to travel there and then paid for her to fly back. So we're like, oh, we'll just like stay behind and like make a vacation about it. So for like all fall and
Yeah.
summer and stuff, I like catered weddings and stuff like that, saved up money and it
Okay.
paid for the whole trip and yeah. we went to London for a few weeks because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and I was like, I've always wanted to go to London where it was like filmed and like see all the iconic places. And we loved it so much. And then we went to Paris because my wife watches Emily in Paris and she just wanted to go.
Okay.
So
I still haven't
we
seen
went
that
there.
show. It's supposed to
It's
be good.
yeah. She loves it. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no, that's
like it
cool.
was a lot of fun. And then we came back and I was like, I want to go back so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Europe's really nice. I've been to London and a few other places in England and like uh, Paris and a few other places in France, like Marseille and Lyon. Just I was visiting some friends and stuff, but
Hmm.
it's really nice. And I got a chance to work in Spain for a summer, which was cool.
Oh wow.
And the things that are nice too about like we have pretty decent public transport in Montreal. Like we have subways,
Mhm.
we've got buses and trains, but Europe hands down just does public transport better. I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate that I have the subway and train. Don't get me wrong, but and we have a cool bike sharing program. But like just the speed trains, like getting between countries. Like I love taking the train. I don't know if you traveled on the train while you were there, but
Yeah.
it
We took the train from London and then it went under the water to like Paris. It was about like a 2-hour train ride.
yeah, it's I don't know. I've always found the train super relaxing. Like even I don't
Mhm.
go to Toronto that often. It's about a 6-hour drive from Montreal if you're driving at a non-insane speed. But typically, I don't know. I don't really enjoy driving that long anymore. Well, not that I really enjoyed that ever, uh, but I can just get on the train and it's like 5 hours or whatever, and it's just I don't know. I just love the experience. Like, you can't really explain why. Like, I could stare out the window and even if it looks like it's the
Yeah.
same landscape, it's I don't know, I find it relaxing.
No, yeah, I'm actually exactly the same way. Like I love the metro system in London. Like we had a hotel where we could just like leave and turn around the corner and the metro system would be right there underground and we would just hop on a train and just go wherever we wanted. And and it was the same at Paris. Like Paris had it too and I was like this is so nice. And then I get back home and I'm like I forget how to drive. Like
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's also just nice. Like,
mhm.
I remember in Barcelona, like, well, you can walk on a lot of places. Like the city, it's different. Like in North America, even in Canada, but like a lot of the states, for example, it's built around car culture. Like,
Yeah.
whereas if you go to like somewhere in Spain, like when I was in Barcelona, the city is built for pedestrians and public transport. Cars
Mhm.
are, I don't want to say afterthought, but they're like that, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
cars too, but like let's have like trams, trains, subway, buses, and like lots of great walking and bike paths. So it's just a different contrast, and I don't know. It was
Mhm.
also just relaxing. Like even though I was there for work, it was still like nice. You finish your day and you can be on a beach or like hop on a
Yeah.
train for an hour and literally be in some other town. So it's
That yeah, that's why I loved it so much. You could just hop on a train, you're like, "Oh, let's go to that stop," and you'd be, like, somewhere new, and then you could just hop back on and go back to where you need and you don't have to stress about, like, traffic, driving, and,
yeah, no, totally.
it's definitely a dream of mine to live in a city that has, like, a metro system, and I think that kind of, like, dwindles down because when I was a kid, my dad used to live in DC, like, he used to work at the Pentagon, so whenever I would
Okay.
go visit and stuff, I would get a Metro card and, like, as, like, a kid or whatever, I would just hop on the Metro with my Metro card and just ride it, like, all day and just go find
Yeah.
places, like, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, the metro. Yeah, we call it metro here too. I said subway before because I didn't know where you were located. Some people have no idea what I mean when I say metro, but yeah, metro slash subway is. definitely amazing to have because you can just get
Mm,
around the city really quick and like there's a big chunk of downtown Montreal too. You can walk underground. So like
mm,
obviously we get cold winters here, but I think it like I'm not sure if it was built because of the winters or if it was just a convenience thing to avoid like weather in general. But if it's bad weather, but it's kind of nice. But like the whole city's most of the city's connected with the metro. The buses aren't bad, but, like, a lot of the city's
mhm.
always under construction, so it's like I
Yeah.
find buses slower, but yeah, typically, I'll take the subway somewhere or maybe hop on a short train ride to get to the subway. But like also just biking home is nice too. Like I have my own bike, but like if I go out to meet some friends, I'm not necessarily gonna bike all the way there because I'll be like a sweat ball. I overheat real easily. But you can like use the bike sharing on the way home, so
Mhm.
I've enjoyed that, or you can just kind of chill on the way back and it's just nice being out. So
No, yeah, the London also had, like, bike sharing and stuff and, like, a lot of places to, like, bike ride, but I was too scared to do it because they drive on the wrong side of the road, so I was worried that I would, like, take a wrong
uh,
turn and a car just
oh,
comes up.
okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that threw me off too, cause like, my brother lived in England for a while, and, like, even though I know you're driving on the other side, like, it was a weird feeling being a passenger in the car when you're not used to it. Like, I was there for a few weeks, but even after a few weeks, it was still throwing me off, but I'm sure it's the same thing if they come to, another country, they're like, "Whoa, right side, what's going on?" Or, you know,
No, yeah.
um yeah, but it's yeah, definitely, different cultures and stuff, but all good, like, yeah, I like London was really nice, going to some of the towns outside was pretty cool too, like, my brother lived in a small town, so it's like every
Mm,
place has a pub, and a curry
yeah.
shop, and, so it's just kinda nice, but, yeah, I guess do you have what's your next big trip you're thinking of doing, or are you thinking of heading back to Europe, or you haven't really thought about it yet?
Well, we both definitely miss London, like, it was just a really cool experience, like, hearing about their history and stuff, like, we both loved it, plus there's this, like, really awesome steakhouse that's super cheap and fancy, and
Okay.
we loved it. But our next big trip, it like, we know it's gonna be around Switzerland because her work's paying for another tour. So, like,
Oh, okay, cool.
with her work, every year she gets to, like, go on a trip as, like and she's still technically working, but she's, like, overseeing, like, one of their groups, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like one of those things like, "Hey, if you stay with us, like, for another year, we'll give you, like, a cool trip." So next summer, they're sending her to Switzerland for this, like, week-long tour, and then
Okay.
I'll probably, like, meet her there, like, after her work tour, and then we'll probably stay behind for, like, another week and kind of, like, venture around that area.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's how I've done it when I've done work, like, had to travel somewhere for work. I got a chance to go to India in 2014 and, like, 'cause TLDR was, like, we were doing all this work for this company, we were technically, I guess, contracted by them, and then they moved a lot of the work to India, and
Mm,
so we basically had to train the India team, like, how to do the deployments and just answer questions, and they're like, "Does anybody wanna go to India?" I was like, "I'll go." I'm like,
yeah,
I've never been. I don't know when I ever would go, so, like,
mm,
I might still go back to India one day, like, it'd be great to, but I was just like, "Yeah, I'll go," and I stayed I just asked my work, I said, like, "Obviously, I'll pay my own room and board, but can I stay, like, just a little longer and then just take a later flight?" And they're like, "Yeah, no problem." So, got to tour around a bit in, like, Mumbai and,
well,
Pune, and then I went to Goa, so it was, like, pretty cool.
yeah, those are always the best trips where, like, the work will pay for, like, part of it, and then, like, your spouse or whatever can meet you there, and then you can, like, stay behind, pay for, like, your own hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, awesome. I know we're getting close to time here, but uh, I'll drop links again for you. But if folks, I'm gonna go ahead and drop your LinkedIn. Um, you're currently looking for a new role right now, is that right? Or
Yes.
okay, cool. So this is the point where just shamelessly plug. So what are you looking for? What if like you could just say like this is my ideal job, what would it be? Like
Ideal because like surprisingly enough, when I did this cohort, I actually found out that like I'm a lot better at back end than front end, and I like back end
okay,
like a lot more. But like a really cool role for me would be like a full stack role with like React or Next.js on like the front end, and then like Node JS or even Python like on the back end. Like Python would actually be something I would love to like learn with a
okay,
company. But ideal role would be like full stack with like back end leaning focus.
okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's front end still in demand, but I'm seeing more and more like either they'll call it like product engineer. I feel like product engineers kind of maybe replaced full stack engineer, maybe, or like everybody calls
Mm,
it differently, but and full stack can mean many things, because like
mm.
nobody literally knows every stack, but
Yeah.
because it's not just the front end and back end, there could be DevOps, there could be all kinds of stuff. But no, that's cool to know. And I are you open to local roles or just remote or like again ideal? What would you be looking for?
Ideal, honestly, like because my wife and I talked about it, like we're actually open to moving anywhere,
Okay.
like anywhere possible. But like if I were to choose, honestly, probably like London for like a year. Like it would be really cool to like live there for a year, check it out, hang out. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, if you can do it, yeah, definitely. Yeah, go work in Europe for a bit.
yeah,
I think that'd be cool. And who knows, maybe you'll end up enjoying it so much you're like, yeah, we're not leaving. So, but
that's definitely a dream. That would be awesome.
yeah, no, that's super cool. I guess before we kind of wrap things up, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to mention. I'll drop your X profile too, and I'll just drop your website again. Uh, yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add or not, but
Huh, no,
cool, cool. Awesome. Well, this is great hanging out, Alex.
yeah,
Always good chatting with you in the Discord and like on GitHub. But it's nice to get a bit of like time for us to just hang together and chat. So really
oh
appreciate you
yeah,
taking the time. I'm sure you got a lot on the go. So
no,
uh,
yeah. Thanks so
awesome.
much for having me.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is great. And for folks tuning in, I'll drop the schedule and I'm just gonna check who's coming up next. I think we have a couple other people this week. I'm gonna be traveling, but yeah. So if you just check out the schedule there, tomorrow I'm hanging on my work live stream with Dan Delamarski, who's part of the Model Context Protocol Steering Committee. So we're gonna be chatting about MCP stuff, and then Thursday gonna be hanging out with Phil Miller and Theo Ephraim from DMNO. We're gonna be talking about their product slash project varlock.dev. So this is building safer config with Varlock, and then
Mm,
yeah, there's some others coming up in August, but check out the schedule. And thanks everybody for hanging. And Alex, if you don't mind just hanging on for 1 second, and everybody else,
yeah.
we will see you tomorrow or Thursday on this live stream.